Hello and welcome to our webinar. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be diving into self-love for moms and otherwise known as self-care, right? What are things that we can be doing to ourselves so that we have more energy and more patience and more um, energy to do the things that we love and be the best version of us that we can be. I get it. I hear from moms all the time that, I don't have time and it's selfish, and you have this guilt of taking time for yourself. And we really got to think of self care, the things that we're going to be talking about, as being self-full rather than selfish. Because the reality is, when you are completely drained, you are not going to be the best version of you and be able to pour into your kids and your family and your work if you work outside the home, all of those different things when we're completely drained. Um, and our health is an investment of time, energy, and money. And so I'm thankful for you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us and learn some of the strategies to help build up your health. And so, brief introduction, my name is Dr. Emily Haug. I am a chiropractor here in Hastings. I love caring for kids and pregnant moms and families. And one of the reasons that I'm super passionate about this topic is because not only do I see a lot of a lot of moms in my practice, but I myself am a mom as well. And certainly, I am human and still working on balancing all of these things as well. But I certainly understand, when I have that sense of overwhelm or pressures from parenting or frustration or my patience is not where I'd like it to be, I have to take a moment and be like, hang on, I haven't been doing some of the things that we're going to be talking about. And I really believe that that contributes. It's that domino effect. When I'm not taking care of myself, there's going to be other not so great things that follow. So definitely keeping it in check. It's a struggle for myself as well, but definitely when I find myself being more diligent and following through on these strategies, life is a little bit easier, right? So my goal today is to really help you feel more empowered when it comes to your health. And with that, I really want you to um, think about pick one of the strategies that we're going to be talking about. I realize strange change can be hard, and so if we can pick one thing to start adding and really make that shift, then you can continue that pattern of adding other things. But I think over sometimes what happens is you get all this great information and it's a little bit overwhelming, and so then you don't do any of it, right? And that's not what we want. So my goal for you is to pick one thing and add it. Don't take something away because that's harder. Start off with adding something positive to your routine. Okay? All right, let's dig in here. So, how much water is in your cup? That's an odd question, right? Um, I love this analogy. So hang with me for a moment. If you think about it, if we have two cups representing two different moms, okay? Water is the amount of stress in not only in our life, but also the amount of stress on our body. So, say this cup has just a little bit of water, so a little bit of stress. So, this mom is doing a lot of the things we're going to be talking about and able to decrease that amount of stress on her body. Then there's the other mom who her water cup is very full, it's almost overflowing. Okay, so we got two moms, and the same stressful scenario happens. Let's say you had a sleepless night, and the 3-year-old doesn't want to get dressed, and um, you ran out of milk or whatever it may be. But stress happens in the life. And you think about if stress water gets poured into the cup of mom A, her cup is not going to overflow, right? Versus mom B, her cup's going to overflow right away. Any extra stress, when she's already stressed, she's going to totally be overwhelmed, fatigue, headaches, pain, um, all different types of symptoms can happen when we're overstressed. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today is how can we lower the amount of water in our cups? Okay? Help us get more into that rest relaxation state. And this is a really, really great visual. And we're going to talk about the nervous system because I am a chiropractor, right? But the nervous nervous system is what tells everything in our body how to work, including that stress response. So on the chart here, you can see that one side of the page talks about that protective state, okay, and that stress mode. The other side is that rest and relaxation. And there's going to be a time and need for both, right? If your kid is playing soccer, that stress response is engaged, which is a good thing. If there's an emergency, that stress response is going to be engaged, which is good. But when it's not good is when it's chronic stress, okay? And when it's chronic stress, that's when we can have that overwhelm and fatigue and poor sleep and poor digestion, headaches, depression, anxiety. And I think, there's definitely a misconception of what's common versus what's normal. And unfortunately, a lot of these symptoms are relatively common. And I want you to know, like, those symptoms aren't normal though. They may be common in today's society, but they're not normal. And that's your body's way of communicating to you and telling you something isn't right and you need to change it up. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about strategies for emotional health and emotional stress relief, and then what we can do physically for our physical body to help with that stress level. So let's start with the emotional. Okay, so number one is unplug and really being aware of the content that we're consuming. Okay, so the news is one thing. Not watching the news a ton and maybe getting news updates on the internet instead. Because a lot of what's on the news is negative things that we can't necessarily do anything about anyways. And so filling your mind with that is not going to help with that stress response. Another thing is social media, and this is huge. And I know we've all been there, right? Where I know for myself, I've been having a great day, and then I check onto social media, and it's that whole comparison thing, right? And it's like, they look like they're having more fun than me, or whatever the case may be, and that's that constant comparison. So, if there are certain people or that you maybe feel like, when I'm checking their updates or status, it's not always like uplifting to me, and I get that little sense of not so good. Well, unfollow them. They'll have no idea. But definitely pay attention to what you are consuming. And then also thinking about even the people you surround yourself with. Definitely, there may be people that don't fill you up. Well, try not to spend as much time with them, okay? Next one is gratitude attitude, or grateful attitude, I should say. And this one is so important. And I know for myself, when I feel overwhelmed, I have to just take a moment and breathe. And I heard this recently from a friend, and she said, think about, what do you know to be true, right? So think about all the great things that you have going for you in your life, and you're immediately going to change that physiology of yourself and that stress response and start coming down. And when you are in less of a stress state, then you can handle whatever life is bringing you at that time. So having an attitude of gratitude is so important. And whether, some people have gratitude journals, so every night before bed, jot down the 5 things that you are grateful for. I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually write it down, but I'm very thoughtful of thinking about that's what I'm grateful for. My child that got dressed the first time that I asked. That's pretty exciting, right? At the dinner table, our family loves doing, what was your favorite part of the day, right? And for kids, that's what they're grateful for. And so starting that pattern of gratitude, even at an early age, is great. Another really great way to help de-stress and have that attitude of gratitude is meditation. And so meditation can be a great way to start your day. I love the analogy of thinking about a track race. And if you think about those sprinters, they practice going out of the blocks over and over and over. And if they mess up there, then the rest of the race is really hard to make up that time, right? Well, it's the same thing. Our morning routine is so important. And so meditation can be a really great way to center you and get you ready for the day. So there's many different ways to meditate. I have found a great app called Headspace that walks you through, and I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't come very easy to me. It's hard to not think about much, right? But this app is really great at kind of teaching you how to meditate. So keep that in mind. Okay, next one is connect. And this is super important, connecting with yourself. So find something that you enjoy doing. And I think as moms, it's very common that maybe our hobbies or what we love doing kind of gets pushed to the side because reality is there's time and our is not as available as pre-kids or pre-marriage, right? And so making sure that you are, even if it's just a chunk of time, a half hour a week or whatever it may be, to do something that you love and connect with yourself, connect with your spouse or significant other. And for myself, our goal is one night a month going on a date night out. All right. And busy parents realize that that may not sound like a lot, but that's a good goal for our family at least. But the other weeks that we don't have a date night out, we have a date night in. So my husband and I are intentional about connecting. After the kids go to bed, we, just at least one night a week. We don't turn on Netflix. We don't just do our own thing. But we sit and we have, spend an hour of just talking, right? Connecting. Or you can connect with a good friend and or family member. Just having that good connection is so important. Okay. Decluttering is the next thing. So decluttering is so important for our mental sanity, right? When we're in a clean space, our mind is going to be more clear. And this can be, it can be like a take over the whole house and go to town getting rid of stuff. Or it can be like, oh, I have 10 minutes before dinner is ready. I'm going to organize this junk drawer or my pantry. But taking off as little chunks can be a little more doable and less overwhelming than, deciding to completely go through everything in our house, right? So that is a really, really great thing. I think having, not that my house is totally tidy all the time by any means, but I definitely feel like when our house is clean, my stress level is less and I can find things easier and all of those things. Another thing that I have been actually pretty good at implementing, which is actually a very easy thing, but it makes you feel good, is make your bed every day. Like, how simple is that? But it's like that sense of okay, at least my bed's made. So it sounds silly, but it's such a mental thing that has been really helpful for myself. All right. Next one is plan out your week. And I love to do this on Sunday nights. Connect with my husband and kind of figure out what's the schedule ahead look like, who's going where, what are the gotta do items. And then with that is the meal planning, right? And so having somewhat of an idea of your meals for the week or different options. I love the 10 a.m. rule. So trying to have a dinner plan by 10 a.m. because we've all been there. It's like 4:45 and you're like, oh shoot, we don't have any plan for dinner. I guess it's frozen pizza again, right? So have a plan by whether it's the night before or at least by 10 a.m. because most things that you take out of the freezer by 10 a.m. can be fairly defrosted by dinner time, right? Online grocery shopping is a really great one too. If you guys don't do that, please, you should totally. It's awesome. A great way to meal plan and just streamline grocery shopping in general. So that's great. And then have a tribe. That is, and this goes back to that connection thing. Having people that can surround you and support you during the parenthood years and just, I think, parenthood in general, life in general, we can't prepare for different stressors that may come our way. And so having people to be there for us and connect is so, so important. Also, on that note, is asking for help. And this can be things like trading with a friend to take over, watch your kids for a couple hours. It can be hiring on a babysitter. It can also be delegating like things like house cleaning, or even I know people who have hired a high school kid to drive their kids around to sports. Different things that you can take off of your plate, delegate to your kids, delegate to your significant other, if that's the case. All right, good. So those are some of the great things that we can be doing from an emotional health component. Okay, next we're going to dig into more of the physical health. What are things we can be doing to decrease the amount of physical stress on our body? So I'm going to start with nutrition. And this one, not any news to you. A lot of these things are going to be very common sense, but also important. So trying to have a simple whole foods diet is going to be key. Trying to stay away from a lot of processed foods, sugar, even trying to limit things like dairy and gluten, because those foods are all inflammatory in nature, and we want to have a low inflammatory diet. That's the best for our health. Having nutrient rich foods is really important, so eating the rainbow, and also like building these healthy habits. Like in general, we are such role models for our kids, right? And so trying to build these healthy habits at a young age and starting with yourself, but then your kids are going to model after you. And so, keep exposing them to those vegetables that they may like fight you, but at least have them try it, right? Drinking enough water throughout the day. Holy cow, is this important? And again, a very simple thing. But a lot of people, a lot of my patients I talk to, and they don't drink a lot of water. And that's so important, not only just overall hydration and function of our body, but also, that afternoon fatigue sometimes can be a sign of dehydration. So half your body weight in ounces per day is the recommendation for how much water we should be drinking. So if that sounds like a lot, just build up to that. And, I have patients who say, well, I'm going to be running to the bathroom every half hour. Well, yeah, you may be in the beginning, but your body adapts, right? It's really good at that. So just keep with it. And then I also put here a cleanse, or a detox. And that's a really great option to just, I like to do a cleanse about once a year to just kind of reset. And there are so many different types of cleanses that you can do. And so I'm not going to go into detail about that, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I have a couple that I like, or you can do simply a food cleanse where you just eliminate certain foods from your diet for a period of time. So I do think that's really beneficial. Even if you have a great diet, our foods have a lot of different toxins. So just to kind of clear things through. So, all right. Going into supplements, this is a very common question that I get from patients is, what wellness supplements should I be taking? Should my kids be taking? There are really 4 that I recommend for everybody: fish oil, probiotic, multivitamin, and vitamin D. Okay, so really briefly, fish oil is a natural anti-inflammatory. So great for overall health, great for neurological health, cardiovascular. I especially recommend my pregnant moms, make sure you're on, and nursing moms, be on a good fish oil. Because baby is taking those omega-3s, and so that pregnancy brain that oftentimes I hear people complain about sometimes can be helped by having that fish oil, and make sure you're replenishing those good healthy omega-3s. Probiotic is the good gut bacteria that lives in our gut, and so this can be so helpful for not only digestive health but also for immune function. A lot of people don't think about 80% of our immune cells live in our gut, and when our gut is healthy, that's going to be a big thing for our overall health as well. A quality multivitamin, just fill in the gaps of nutrients that we're not getting from our diet. And then vitamin D. And honestly, it's not as important during the summer because we're seeing the sun. But in the winter time, fall, winter months, it's especially important. Vitamin D plays a huge role in our overall mood, but then also, again, our immune support. So So all of those are great. I want to make a little side comment here. It is important what quality of supplements you get. It definitely affects the body's ability to absorb the nutrients, and so it's worth the money. Getting your supplements from like we sell some things at our office, but even like what they sell at Colborn's or at Spiral, if you're here in Hastings, those are where I'd recommend, not necessarily like Walmart or Walgreens. Okay? All right. Sleep. Oh, sleep. Right? Moms, I have a 1-year-old and we're finally getting to that point where we're sleeping through the night. But then, like, my 4-year-old will be in bed with us, right? So, sleep is definitely something that we value. And, just trying to get as much sleep as we can. I certainly understand and realize that it can be hard sometimes, but going to bed earlier, I think, is a really big thing that I started doing, especially when I knew I was going to be up multiple times in the night, is go to bed a half hour earlier. And I know that made a big difference for me. And sometimes I think about what I did with the last half hour of my day, and typically it's nothing all that exciting anyway. So just go to bed. Trying to unwind before bed, have somewhat of a bedtime routine, and a big thing with that is to e-fast or get off of electronics. Okay, so TV, iPad, phone, that is very stimulating to our brain, and so if you can calm down and read a book or journal or meditate, connect or chit chat with a friend or your spouse, that's going to be more of getting our body more into that rest relaxation state. And then as moms, if you can take a nap, sleep when baby sleeps, or even a 15-minute, throw the TV on for the kids for 15 minutes, half hour, and just get a short power nap, that can make a huge difference. Okay? All right, exercise, something I talk a lot about goals with my patients, and I tell you, so many people have exercise or regular exercise as their goal. And so I think it's something that we just have to keep building into that habit. And I know for myself, if I get off of an exercise routine, it's hard to get back because it's hard. And then I feel like you all of a sudden, after a couple weeks of like hitting the gym or getting outside running, I all of a sudden feel this okay, now it's finally a little bit easier and enjoyable, right? So stick with it. If you're not into exercise right now, if that's your one thing that you're going to add, I want you to think about, when we think about exercise, there's frequency, duration, and intensity. Think about that frequency. So it can be, a 15-minute walk, nothing too long, nothing too intense, after dinner, or whatever it may be. But building that habit is the key. And I know there's some really great apps or websites that have home exercise, and that is an awesome, put it on during nap time and you can get a good workout in. I've been very sore from some of those home videos. The YMCA here in town is awesome. 2 hours of childcare, that is invaluable, absolutely. And they have some great classes as well. So find something that you enjoy doing, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to want to keep doing it, right? Make it social. Instead of meeting a friend for coffee or a glass of wine, go for a walk. Meet up in a park and go for a walk or run, or do a class at a gym together. And I find for myself, talking about that Sunday night planning, I have to plan in my schedule when I'm going to work out. And this is so important because it's super easy to just get pushed down the priority schedule, and then it's like a week's gone by and I've maybe worked out once or twice. So prioritize it, because again, and I know for myself, sometimes I've been really tired, and so it's like the last thing I want to do is exercise, but I force myself to do it, and then afterwards I'm re-energized, right? And so I think the biggest key is just getting your foot out the door or getting yourself to the gym, and then you can feed off your energy. And then some days, it really isn't your day. And you have to look at it like, well, at least I did something, because something is better than nothing at all, right? Okay, then talking about chiropractic, right? A little bit, I am a chiropractor. we see pregnant moms, we see moms in general. We talk about mom back because so much, especially with little kids, we're in this forward position all the time. Chiropractic is so much more than neck and back pain, right? We work with the nervous system. Like we talked about, the nervous system is what controls everything in our body, including that stress response. So, as chiropractors, our job is to analyze the spine and check for areas of the spine that may have shifted or become out of alignment, and then use adjustments to correct those. When we are adjusting the spine, what we're doing is taking stress off of the body, off of the nervous system, so your body can be stronger and work to its full potential. I can't emphasize how incredibly important and impactful chiropractic care has been for myself, not only for myself during my pregnancies, for myself just in life, but then for my kids. It's really, and my husband too. It's for our whole family. The chiropractic care has been just a vital part of the puzzle. You know, all the things that we talked about can be great, but if your nervous system, your master system is hardwired for stress, then, you know, you can meditate, you can do all these other things that's going to help, but it's not going to completely help you to get to that de-stress state. So, okay. So, lastly, like I talked about, I really want you to think about what is the one thing that you can take away from today's webinar. You know, everybody knows the phrase knowledge is power, but I want to change that and say apply knowledge as power, right? I've done it absolutely. I've read books, I've listened to podcasts, I've listened to webinars, and all this great information, but then I don't do anything with it. And that doesn't do you any good. You may as well not listen to it, right? So pick something. I would love for you to pick something. You know, post it in the comments below. Let me know what you're doing so that we can help keep you accountable and cheer you on along the way, because like I mentioned, parenthood is definitely one of those challenges that I don't think anybody could quite prepare you for until you're in the thick of it. And so we've got to rally together, support each other, us moms. And so if you have any questions at all about anything that I talked about today over the webinar, or about health or chiropractic, please feel free to reach out. You can always message us through the Hauck Chiropractic page, or my email is dremily.hauck, dr, and then my name, at gmail.com. And so otherwise, have a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you.